Alrighty, thanks everybody for coming out tonight. Glad to see the turnout that we had, especially in holiday party season. And tonight I'm going, oh, no Wi-Fi. Tonight I'm going to go over the 10 commandments of going from full-time to freelance. So just to give an introduction on top of what John had. I'm John Jones and I run Smartest, a contract art production agency. I'm a freelance art outsourcing manager and I deal with art studios and freelance artists on a daily basis. I'm going to go into some detail on what you need to know if you're transitioning from full-time employment into a career as a freelance artist. There are a few things you need to know that I've learned over the years that I hope will be to the benefit of all. I'm going to be speaking primarily to people that are taking the leap into freelance art full-time and not people that moonlight or only want a contract until they find another job. Some of my advice will still apply to people in those situations, sure, but I personally prefer not working with moonlighters or people that only want to contract temporarily, because the second they enter crunch or get a job, I become the lowest priority, I miss deadlines, and it affects my clients' projects. So, I've been dealing with contract art for 15 years. I've been a full-time professional for over 10. I've been a freelance artist, worked at an art studio, worked in-house at developers as an artist and a manager, and now I manage art teams as a freelancer. So I've been on all sides of the contract art game, so that's kind of where I'm coming from. A quick but important note I would like to make. Always keep your resume and portfolio up to date. Pay attention to what's happening at your studio. If you're getting close to shipping, get all of that up to date because that's prime time for layoffs. Do you think the game's going to succeed or suck? Is your team unreasonably large? Is your contract up for renewal? Prepare now. Starting a contract or a job will take at least a month and a half on average, and that's optimistic. Be ready. If you get laid off, you have a resume and portfolio ready, and they should already be in the hands of at least 10 companies by the end of the day, period. So, the 0th commandment. Set up your own dedicated workspace. Do nothing but work there. Fundamentally, just don't work where you play. You feel like you're always at work and will begin to really resent it and feel trapped. Trust me, it sucks. Also, don't play where you work. Just don't mix it. You'll never get any work done when there's chores around the house to do, a TV show to watch, more Skyrim, pets to play with, or the promise of hot local teens in your area that want to chat. Not true. Do that somewhere else on your own time. Set aside your own sacred workspace and keep that discipline. It'll keep you sane. What I did was turn my only bedroom into my office, and I put my bed in my living room. I'll admit that's extreme, but that's my personality and it's been a good arrangement for me. I can separate the two very easily. And the first commandment, thou shalt know the day and the hour. An amateur will say, I'll have it done in 2 hours, and delivers it in 8. A professional will say, I'll have it done in 8 hours and delivers it in 6. So from the manager's point of view, if an artist blows his time estimates consistently, it erodes my trust in his ability to deliver at all. I always notice and I always remember, even if I don't necessarily say anything, which generally I will, but it depends on what I need, in what time frame, and what I need to get out of them. I don't want to have to figure out amateur artist math and do the conversions in my head. Like 2 hours is 8 hours, 4 hours is 12 hours, 1 day is 2 days. I am neither nanny nor mathematician. I have deadlines to hit. I've been in a position where I've been stuck with an artist that won't correct his behavior and I can't replace, so I actually have to lie about when it's due just because I know he'll be late if I give him the real due date. And obviously I can't tell him I do that because he'll be on to me and he'll find another way to weasel out of it, once again leaving me in the dark on delivery dates. If you make me treat you like a child, no allowance for you. Sometimes that's been the only way to get the artist to deliver on time, and that puts me in an odd and almost parental position. What does it say about him, his competence, and his skills as an artist if he consistently fails to understand how long a task takes? Is that someone you'd work with again? I understand sometimes you run into problems, and that's fine, but if you're going to be late, tell me. Trust me, I know how awkward it can be to approach someone preemptively and tell them something unpleasant. But I'd rather know so I can plan for it being late rather than simply not hear from the artist and get a late delivery. I have a boss too. I report to my boss, and telling my boss it'll be done on a certain day and getting it later makes me look like I can't manage my artists or stick to a schedule. No one wants to feel that way, and that affects you directly too. So just fundamentally, be a professional. The second commandment, thou shalt heed the words of the technical guidelines tablet. The amateur says, here's the delivery. The file's an absolute mess I'm going to spend hours fixing. Textures are assigned wrong, files are named wrong, directories are assigned wrong, absolute chaos. Bonus points for weird or profane file names. Note, not actual bonus points. A professional says, here's the delivery. Everything's properly named, everything is exactly as I expected. I know he read the technical guidelines and he met them, and I don't have to fix anything or only fix very minimal things because he paid attention to my instructions. I try very hard to give clear direction. I never expect anyone to do something that I don't understand or can't do myself. So I don't know, from the manager's point of view, I don't know if he just didn't read the document or didn't understand it. If I explained it badly, I'll cop to it, but just try your best and ask questions. At that point, my three options are repeat myself, explain myself, or do it myself. Ideally, that'll never happen, but practically speaking, it totally will. So just don't make me do your job. I respect attention to detail and people that think of ways to do their job well and understand my bottom line and try to save me time. It's good customer service, good business, and it's the professional way to act. It's the mint on the pillow. So, the third commandment, thou shalt heed thy client's word to the letter. The amateur says, oh sure, I'll incorporate that feedback. He misses half of what I asked for and acts like nothing's wrong. Did he not read it, not understand it, or just ignore it? The professional says, sure, I'll incorporate that feedback, nails every single point, and verifies point by point what was fixed. And fundamentally, the professional is showing me he pays attention to what I say, and he's focused on details and is doing a good job. It's easy for an amateur to slack off or misread something, not double check, or just let things slide and hope he's not called on it because he doesn't want to do the extra work. Maybe he doesn't get called on it and it's handled in-house, but just because a client may not bring it up doesn't mean it wasn't noticed and remembered. I may not have the time to go detail point by point through feedback, fixing everything when it's faster just to do it myself because I need to hit a deadline. So something that I think is extremely important is something you may not realize. Sometimes the sign of a job well done is the quiet, peaceful absence of problems. Everything flows smoothly, is exactly as expected, people are happy, and there's no cause for complaint. Doing the job right simply may not bring open acknowledgement or kudos, but doing the job wrong is going to set off alarms everyone notices. It took me many years to realize that sometimes lack of acknowledgement is something I take pride in. It's not ideal, and I try extremely hard to acknowledge and appreciate everything I can, but I have a lot to do and I may not always be able to afford the time, but remembering this can keep you sane. The fourth commandment. Let's see. Well, I have this completely in the wrong order. So thou shalt be mindful, for the end of day is nigh. I'll have it ready for you by, I'll have it ready for you by the end of the day. He submits the deliverable at 3 a.m., which is the end of his working day, but is 8 hours after I've left work and gone home. Professional, I'll have it ready for you by the end of the day. And he submits it at 3 p.m., so I have another 4 hours to review it and write feedback. Technically, it's not the end of the day, but early is always good. So the end of day means the end of my day, not the end of your day. I'd like to at least look at it before going home and have it in and be able to tell the people I report to, look, here's what I have, Myers did what he said he would, and I don't have to make excuses. So the fifth commandment, thou shalt honor thy customer and thy reputation. Anybody recognize that cartoon character? The amateur thinks, I'm just this guy that makes art. What's customer service? If I make good art, that's all that matters, because that's all they really want. The professional says, I'm a service provider, and I take customer service very seriously. I am an artist, but my success in that depends on creating art to my client's exact specifications. Fundamentally, if you're a freelancer, you are in the customer service business. Be responsive, make the client happy, and maintain that. It's like dating. You work out, you dress well, and you get in dating shape to look great. I'm just insert charming romantic comedy, How They Met story here, possibly starring Gerard Butler and Jennifer Lopez. But once you're in a relationship, you let a few things slide because you're safe. Contractors do this. Contractors should not do this. That's the difference between being a contractor versus being employed full-time at a studio. As a contractor, you're always dating, you're always selling, and you always have to keep that standard of careful attention to detail, composure, and will go to the extra mile to make your client happy so you'll keep working with them long-term. And even clients like flowers from time to time. Note, please do not actually send clients flowers, it is creepy. The sixth commandment, thou shalt not mock the client with feeble protestations. The amateur says, my dog ate my stylus. The professional says, I dropped the ball on this and I'll do my best to correct it. Look, I don't want excuses, I want results. If you screwed up, be honest, let me know, I can plan for that, I understand. But I've heard every excuse and I know the difference between a reason and an excuse. For example, I've seen weird technical issues that are magically resolved when I step in to help. Or, oh, you never got that email you actually already replied to? Or, wow, your wife or girlfriend demanded that you nap through this deadline? Which actually happened. Yeah, man, just don't throw your wife under the bus, dude. I mean, that's low. I don't work with him anymore. So, I mean, for my part, when I make a mistake, I own up to it. It sucks, it's awkward, and I feel bad, but making lame excuses, really? Oh, I'm sorry. Can I scrub through this really quick? I'm almost done. There's a big sign that says, you've spoken for more than 10 minutes. I'm actually trying to speak slowly enough for people to understand me for once in my life. So, the 7th commandment, thou shalt form an LLC and understand thy taxes. Consult a tax professional. He'll probably tell you to form a limited liability company. Look it up, it's important. Go to LegalZoom.com to read up on it and look at how to do it. They'll do the filing for you. That's how I did mine. Get a business bank account. Credit unions are awesome. I use Amplify and I like them very much. And get to know how business taxes work. Take records, keep receipts. Your tax guy is your best friend. I'm going to loop back around to that. The 8th commandment, thou shalt start a website and find a good domain. You@yourname.com is professional. If you use webmail, only use Gmail. Hotmail, Yahoo, MSN look amateur. Sorry. Get a .com. Second best is .net. Avoid weird TLDs if you can, and avoid subdomains. You can see the bad example. If you don't use your real name, be simple. If you say the name aloud, can people find it in the first try? Avoid internet slang, and avoid bad spelling. If you have to hyphenate, use only one. Avoid complicated words. Avoid unintentional words. Bad example, ferrethandjobs.com, which is my favorite example. That was taken down very quickly, relevant image. If it takes longer than, I'm sorry. If it takes longer than 3 seconds to speak aloud or explain, it's too long. Don't pick something offensive. If it has to do with drugs, sex, poop, communicable diseases, or Nickelback, reconsider your life. And short and simple is best. The 9th commandment, thou shalt know and love thy web tools. But not the biblical no, that's just creepy and impossible. So if you're managing leads and deals and the people you're in contact with, I use Zoho CRM, Customer Relationship Management software. It's free, it's awesome. Just read the tutorials, get into it. Don't let it all exist in your head or an email. If you want to look for it, you'll only have to spend a couple seconds finding it instead of having to remember how drunk you were that day or who you were talking to when you got this email and this and that. Just don't be in that position, be on top of it. For managing time tracking, billing, invoicing, profit and loss, use FreshBooks. I think it costs $10 or $20 a month, but it's been worth absolutely every penny. We'll send invoices from the website, it'll bug people, and for payment, you can actually get paid through that system. It's amazing, use it if you're a freelancer. And if you want to share online documentation, spreadsheets, whatnot, collaboration tools, use Google Docs. They're the best. And the 10th, So that's everything I have right now. I hope this was enlightening in some way or another. I'm going to have the slides and the full text of this up on my website probably early next week. And thank you very much for listening.